sometimes write feedback or do feedback to students. So it will be interesting to find out. And how do you write feedback? Okay, and then the background research is also given there. It's clear. And the learning outcomes also clear. There are two, which actually will be useful for us, not only for this group of researchers, also for others. Okay, on the method part, actually, I will comment that we would like to see a bit more detail on how they conduct the study, if they can share with us. For example, are they going to conduct interview or surveys, and then even do some focus group. Okay? And also, maybe we would like to know on which course. You might want to highlight which course they're conducting the study on, which group of students, right? And maybe like this kind of study, it requires many participants in terms of for it to be useful, the results. Okay, so though we would recommend this to be like more of a survey questions, so we'll have more data, so we'll have more feedback. We recommend this proposal to be accepted. Our grade actually a bit lower than the other one. We give them this proposal a 7 out of 10 due to the methodology. So we suggest if they can improve on the methods, we will give them okay, okay, that's it.
By the way, a proposal is really a proposal. A proposal like this is really a proposal at this initial stage. As they start doing research, things change. And data that they collect will make them also want to re-look at or revisit the focus of the initial thing that they want to look at. Yeah? So it is like very fluid. Not the FRGS kind of proposal, you promise this, you must do this. No, because this one you are dealing with human, and you are dealing with different batches of students with different characteristics. So just in case that batch needs a different, I mean, you still study feedback, helpful, unhelpful feedback, but it can bring you to a point where you think there is something even more important behind this that you want to study, and things change along the way, and this is what we call action research. The researcher is not studying a static, unchanged phenomenon. They are studying themselves, and they have the power to, they can empower themselves to bring in new methodology or to bring students out to learn new things. So it's very fluid, and this person is constantly changing. Like today I see if you fall asleep, then I will have new methods. It's not like, oh, this morning I wanted to do this, I will sure want to do this no matter whether my students sleep or not. No. I think we all experience this, isn't it? As teachers, it's impromptu, it's action-reaction. If this doesn't work, immediately I change. Yeah? Let's say something that make them want to re-divert their focus, they can, but in cycle 2 phase. Because the first thing must be resolved. Then only you go to another issue. Otherwise, it's all lumped together. When people read, it becomes proposal Y. Confusing. You have 2, 3 things together, all rojak, so it's not easy to understand. Yeah. So if you, because of this, you find out something else, leave that passion for next cycle. If you still hold the ground, if not, apply a new one. Yeah. So in this proposal, I think you will sense if she continues doing this, it will bring change to the department, either this way or that way. Changing the rubric, sharing at departmental level, training of new tutors and lecturers, it will somehow like have a ripple effect that even though you give only a small grant, but it makes big impact for your university. That's why it is deserving. It is getting 7 and 8.5. It doesn't matter the points that they get, but it is the impact that we want to see. How nice, the money is so worthwhile compared to buying 5 iPads for what? So it's a visionary compared to a small, small-minded. So, but this visionary is not so big, so visionary that this person cannot do. Can do, workable, yet visionary. So this is the criteria that we are looking for. Yeah. So we now come to the last question.
Okay, thank you very much. So as the assessors also sat and deliberated on Project X, we came to a conclusion that although the timing was short, we appreciate the effort of these applicants, and we also appreciate the fact that they are coming from engineering backgrounds, and so this is not the style of writing kind of proposals. So we were not that strict. However, we want to make sure that we follow the due process. Based on our assessment on the project question, we will agree. Of course, we all have feedback problems, and so we realize that, okay, there's something worth to be investigated. And it's okay. The background, the research background, we noticed that the applicants forgot to put in citations or references. And so these are very important. You cannot just say based on journals or whatever. You have to cite it so that we can refer to what we are talking about. So that's a minor correction. Learning outcomes, we think it's okay, it's basic, and it meets the requirement based on the rubrics that we have as well. However, on the methodology, we have noticed that there are some specific areas that needs to be addressed, especially the type of tools that is to be used in conducting such experiment or research, and the kind of data that is required from such experiment or research, especially the size of the class, the location, the type of class, and the area that the research is also to be conducted. So based on these analysis, we have graded this proposal a 5. A 5, which is a pass mark. However, with some minor corrections to be considered for acceptance. Thank you.
So, Mr. Chairman, when you talk about experiment, do you expect them to do like one group control and one group experiment, like what we mentioned earlier? You mentioned to improve methodology, they can consider experiment. Okay. By the way, because there are so many engineering people here, experiment cannot be used in student learning, okay? Don't use that. Because if you start to have a control group, okay, if you do experiment, then it will be pre and post, okay? Like before workshop, what do they think? After workshop, what do they think? Yeah? Don't go and create one control group and don't give them anything to see whether they go hungry, and give your group a lot of food to see whether they feel satisfied. Otherwise, the hungry group will come after you. There are a lot of hearsay, isn't it, among students? Like how you teach this group, that group. Hey, why he gives me this material but he doesn't give in another class? Yeah? So for justice issues, cannot do the experiment by having control group. Pre and post is okay. Just be careful. Because engineering people, you like to see outcome through your intervention, isn't it? What you introduce. And that is not quite acceptable.
So with that in mind, is it possible if we use, if we want to measure the effects of, for example, active learning in our classroom to the performance, can we use the average results from the previous batch to compare with the one that we are teaching?
No comparison, because different group of students. No more comparison.
Yeah. With the same samples only.
Yes, within the same sample. You cannot compare last semester how they did and this semester how they do. Because last semester was done by another group, right? Totally different. They are the same just because they come in at different batch. But each individual in that batch is very different from these individuals in this batch. No comparison done. It's just that how I have changed, how I view student last year and how I view student this year. This one can be done. So just be careful when you create your so-called experiment or intervention, and do not interfere with students' rights. They have the rights to the best that you can offer them. So, just now we talked about academic integrity.
I have a question. So the question is, let's say this semester I come up with an intervention, I test it, and I find that it is good, it is effective with this batch of students. Then in the following semester, I have a new batch of students. I use the same intervention because the previous batch I found that it was good. But then in this batch, it doesn't seem to work. So how do we resolve this? Because we thought with the previous batch, this thing works. And we think it will improve teaching. But then when we do it with a new batch of students, new people totally, we don't get the same results.
So if we could analyze, okay, based on students, how the learning outcomes achieved, we think our method was good, right? But they may be naturally high achievers. With or without your method, they can achieve. So it wasn't very sure whether my method brings this outcome. It was an assumed thing. Unless your student told you how this tool was so useful. And if so many students told you that you can't fail this batch, it will repeat unless this batch totally rejected the way the last batch learned, which is very strange because they all same age. But if it was assumed that because last semester I used certain method and therefore you see no one failed. No one failed, and your method, that correlation does not exist until you ask your students to confirm, yes, because of your method I passed, otherwise I might fail. But who will tell who might fail? Because you already passed. You can't fail when you have passed, right? So it was just an assumption that what I did last semester worked.
Even with collecting data, and we have confirmed that students give feedback and say it's good. So we want to use the same method in this next batch with totally new students. We collect data again and we find that it's not working with this new batch of students.
Then do you know what didn't work with this batch?
Okay, so that's what we need to investigate.
Yes.
Fantastic.
So
okay.
this is what is and what works.
Okay.
And what could be.
Okay.
If you realize it end of semester, nothing can be done.
Right.
But if you realize it 5th week, you know this method doesn't work because the basic is very poor. Then you can do do something about it at week 5 so that you can bring them up at week 14. Doctor, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, sure. Subhana, quick one. Since I like that, you want to investigate, right? Can you share the method, how you going to investigate?
This is something that just came out. I should ask the question. I was just wondering because Dr. Wayne said just now we cannot compare cohorts, correct? We cannot compare different students. And then now for our total research grant, we have 18 months maximum, and we are running on like 2 or 3 cycles even maximum. So if in the first cycle, first semester, we resolve this issue, what do we do in the second and third semester?
Improved version of this thing.
Yeah.
Based on student feedback,
Yes.
no more based on assumption.
Yes.
Because when we sit back, relax, we tend to think all the good things happen because of me, and bad things happen because of the circumstances. And that is not quite true until you ask your students to confirm, this is not your assumption,
So
really.
does that make possible if let's say we try to put for example like okay before this you did this kind of innovation in your class, the students managed to pass and they give good feedback towards you. The next semester you're trying to think about, and then maybe there's some not so good feedback. You try to improve that because some negative feedback. You try to improve that, and then that is put under second cycle. And then you've got the results of your students. Is it something that you can put in a publication that you try to compare?
Just say-
there's like there is an improvement made, and then
Just say there is an improvement on my side, not based on students' achievement.
right.
It's like I come to a realization that this method works. It works for the last batch. It works even better after I know student feedback this batch.
So it's
So
a
your
impression.
improvement,
Yes.
But subsequently, along the way you have made the students improve. It's like a side outcome. It's like a bonus to your own improvement.
So that is reportable, is it? That is published.
Unless you have a repeat students, you have repeat students who sat in last semester, saw you did it, and this semester, he's still there, so you can make good use of this person because he has sat all 2 semesters.
Only a single person.
Yeah, you can ask him how he is, but his performance is not the criterion. Because he has now gained more knowledge, isn't it? Usually he will perform better, or his classmates are better or more supportive. Those are the variables. Batch to batch, cohort variables that we cannot eliminate. Because each group is different. Imagine if Prof. Ahmad Fazil is still sitting here, we will act differently.
Yes.
Correct or not? Correct or not?
Definitely.
And that is a variable. Not that we act how differently, but we will somehow have him at the back of our mind that we shouldn't say something or we can say something. You get what I mean?
Yes.
So each of you is also a variable. Me a variable, but you are also a variable. The materials that I show, variable. The video I gave, variable. For him, he has watched all before coming. I don't think the rest would do all this or can afford the time. Maybe Dr. Su did it, watch before coming. But most of us just can't find time. But I cannot now say you are not so good participants. You get what I mean? I cannot assume why you didn't do something because it must be because. No, because everybody is different. And when you respect each learner in your class, you begin to see things differently. You are not like this watching your students, but you are like this watching yourself. And that is a very interesting reflection. You see yourself through your students' learning. No longer short sendiri. See, everybody is listening. Everybody is listening. No more that fear of proving yourself you are good. No more. It is not about you, it's about your students. Are they learning or not? Not how capable or charismatic you are or how dramatic you can be. It's not your ego. We don't need to serve our ego by now. But at first, when we started teaching, we all wanted good review, isn't it? But now we can put aside those evaluation and say, I have got over it. Yeah, I know what exactly I want to portray. I know what I value in my teaching. So by then, we can escape those evaluation, brings you heartache and all that. Those days, we all face it, isn't it? The first few years of evaluation, it gives you like a lot of like impact. Yeah, because we are still very skeptical about our own teaching. But by now, we have established ourselves. Yeah, whether they learn or they don't learn, sometimes we respect. This is not the time for them to learn. Not yet. They are not there yet. We just respect them, but scaffold them, help them. Doctor, sorry, we girls talk a lot, yeah? So we go back to gentlemen.
Okay, actually, my concern is the same thing about how do you measure that we have done something good, we have done it good. I think there's a challenge for the staff to maybe there's certain indicator that we should use, for example, attendance, or our observation on their participation. But it's still qualitative. But attendance is something qualitative. Their performance, their grade, their quiz mark, their homework marks, but as you said, there's so many variables. But I think throughout the semester, we can see their progress. Okay, from let's say the first week, second week, until to week 14, then we can see our method is effective, and we can see the trend. Maybe something like that, you know.
Yes.
Okay, so we need to find out what are the best indicators to show that we have done something good, that our method is working.
Thank you, Doctor. So to have those students' achievement, marks, improvement, attendance, willingness to raise hand and ask good questions, to be critical in discussion, all these are outside behavioral patterns that have changed. Do you think before those things change, the inside also must have changed? How they view your course, how they view your method, how they receive your acceptance or rejection, or feeling fearful or later become not fearful. The internal changes, how do we capture? Do they email you sometimes to tell you, I'm no longer fearful about physics, now I can overcome my fear? That kind of thing. All those Padlet, things that can reveal their insight. Because if insight does not change, I don't think the grade will improve and they will become more active in learning, right? The heart controls the mind controls the action. So something must have changed maybe at this level or at this level. So just now we talked about plagiarism, integrity. Is it easy to teach those things? Honesty, integrity, is it easy? Quite difficult, isn't it? Is it easy to teach empathy? How to empathize? Not sympathy, but empathy. How to put myself in your shoes. Is it easy to teach this? Now we will watch how a primary school teacher, an old man, an old teacher, teaches empathy. We will share this and we will share maybe 1 or 2 more videos. Then we will go back. Oh yes, tea break. Yeah. Bring in the tea.
Watching the video.
jam. 7 jam. Ini memang tu yang cakap. Kita lagi mau banyak. Kita boleh sendiri je. Nak tulis lagi banyak. Boleh. Sebelah. Minta. Bagi aku punya evidence ni. Dia public buku. Dia tak bagi lagi evidence tu. We are very limited number of books published in the country.
Tengok saya lah. Ni je pun saya.
Saya nak buka.
Ada buat. Oh, okay, thank you.
Nak makan tak? Jom. Sekejap. Update Facebook, Instagram.
Oh, cuba cabut lah. Ada stiker dia tak tahan. Kenapa letak benda tu?
Dulu lah, dulu zaman Aina belajar dengan kawan, orang ada okey, tak cakap lah, sebut dah dulu letak penuh ni.
Tu dah tengok, ni ada je lagi, tak ada dah kita tanggal apa sedap curry pop ha. Dah lupa. Kita makan.
Maybe they are so brilliant. That's probably in the same way. I mean, different. Just find it's the same way. Just compare to find out.
They may love water, but they waste water. Same what you said, look, we fun after you are there, live there. We hear all the time, this wastewater is always being paid.
Ada collaboration dengan mana-mana tak yang dengan tak yang ni.
Ada banyak masalah. Sakit. So I've kind of controlled that so far. So the lecture's popularity is nothing to do with it.
So that is very good.
Chemical yang ni.
Dah habis dah. Dah habis. Kita punya session ni habis dah.
First lecture. Yeah, that's what I'm worried, especially first lecture.
It's about AKE already. It's free.
Okay, yes. Oh, you did? Yes, you were there. In the building, that's what I was thinking. Even before what you did now. Even though we did on Tuesday. So that's a bit late. We should be interested in check something out. Before they register, I think that is almost
This is the Minami Koretsuno Kanazawa Municipal Elementary School, Grade 4, Class 1. It's April 2002, a new school year. Grade 3 is past, faded, but not forgotten. Here's someone from back then. They're overjoyed to see their homeroom teacher is Toshiro Kanamori, same as last year, the best, kind and tough and funny. But this sounds strange to a Western family. The class goal from grade 4 is to understand how to live a happy life, how to care for other people. Mr. Kanamori's class has a tradition. Every day in homeroom, 3 students read aloud letters they've written. They're called notebook letters. They're written to the other students, and they're a true, surprising record of what these 10-year-olds really think. Happiness, irritation, determination, gratitude, whatever's real, because the other children will pick up whatever isn't. Late April, Ren Swader comes to class for the first time in 4 days. His grandmother died. In his notebook, Ren writes about the death, the funeral, his loss.
呼ばれて2階に行ったらおばあちゃんは亡くなっていた。おばあちゃんは眠るように亡くなっていた。おばあちゃんは
They were worried. They didn't know why Ren was away. Now they're moved at his pain and saddened by his loss.
告別式だった。最後のお別れに花をいっぱい入れてあげた。僕は涙がボロボロと出た。みんなも泣いていた。バスで火葬場へ行った。1時間ぐらいでおばあちゃんは骨になっていた。おばあちゃんがいなくなって寂しいです。
手挙げてる人全員立ちなさい。
The letter unlocks some brutal and long-hidden memories.
僕もばあちゃんが全がんで全体ががんになるので死んで、その時に僕はもう。
And before long, the notebook has other memories rising to the surface.
聞いてる人が聞いていて、その時のことを思い出したので、セイダさんの気持ちはよくわかりました。
私の誕生日の日の前の夜におじいちゃんが寝ながら亡くなってしまって、私はおじいちゃんの顔を見れずに
Mifuyu has been holding down her memories for more than half her life.
私は3歳の時にお父さんが私が聞いてる時も書きたかったんだけど、書こうと思ったんだけど書けないくらい悲しくて、それで私はお父さんが亡くなった時には3歳だったんだけど、そういうことが分かってて、それで
She'd been afraid to talk about her father. She didn't want to seem different. She paid a price.
育てたんだけど、でも涙が止まらなくて電話ができないぐらいだったので、その話を聞いて私はすごく悲しかったです。
Now, at last, she feels safe enough to talk about her missing parent.
この学級で一番僕は辛い経験を持っているのは水だと思う。で、今日は僕は美冬がそのことをいつも心にしまっておくと辛いね、なんだから一度は美冬がお父さんのことをみんなの前で言った方が気が楽になるだろうなと思ってたけども、その心をね、てんちゃんの頼りも開いてくれたわけだから。
They're trying to understand. They all find it painful. Some find it unbearable. Yo Enomoto is the class sparkle, high energy, charming. Now he's remembering the death of his grandmother.
Mm. 心に定員はないから、そうやってみんなに語ってみんなに共感してもらって本当にこう聞く相手がいると そうやって自分の心の中に人が住み着く。それが手紙ノートのものすごい大きな意味かなと思って。
Now, Mifuyu's gotten up the nerve to bring a picture to class, her most precious picture. Her father was a designer. This was his last work, a model for a parade exhibit. He died before it was built.
これのを使ったパレードがあった時にはお父さんはもう亡くなっていたんですが、お母さんは見ようと思ったけど怖くて見れなかったって言ってました。
ありがとう。
She didn't want to seem different. Now she's more a part of the class than ever. And now she can talk about her father and smile.
Shall be last that we watch together because the rest you can watch on your own.
Test question alert. Test question alert. Note from the big giant head.
I don't fall asleep in this class. I just don't. And it's weird because I can remember falling asleep in every other class.
I've never had a teacher like him at all.
Like calculus, every day, just I pass out.
Like he's probably one of the teachers, like probably when I'm 75 years old, that I'll still remember.
Our teacher, I fall asleep in there all the time.
He's the epitome of what I think a teacher should be.
Have you never heard of it? You know what? Let's all do it. Okay, you know what? Go get that thing over there.
Mr. Wright, it's a kid in the city. Yeah, I just tend to fall asleep a lot. It's a bad thing, but I do. But this class just keeps me interested, so there's no room for napping because you're learning. It's like this guy's just crazy. He's just exploding with fun.
You see a huge fireball burn in my hand and go up to the ceiling, and all that matter, I'm not going to have any kids sleeping, and every one of those people are out there asking, how? And as soon as you get the kid asking how or why, I can rope them in and get that intrigue going. Let's get his love of learning.
He says, I could care less about Newton's third law. I want to teach you something for you to take outside of school. That's what he's told us before, so he really, it makes me feel like he really cares about me, and I know he does. And he's a good man, and he will go out of his way for you.
Any last words?
Do you love us?
More than you know.
3, 2, 1.
And schools have them for 6 hours a day, and then the kids go home, and whatever atmosphere they have around for the other 18 affects them. And so, schools can change a lot, but we also have to realize that they go home to a completely different environment.
I think he could tell with me that I had stuff going on. So he kind of reached out to me first. At first I was like, dude, you're a teacher, I'm not gonna talk to you. But
What I went home to when I was young is very different than what some of these kids go home to, where they don't have a mom and dad, or some of these kids, I hear them talk about all the time. There were gunshots at night. I'd have a hard time sleeping or studying if there were gunshots outside there.
I've pretty much been on my own since I was like 15. So, yeah, I mean, I talk to him about a lot of stuff, like at home and stuff, and he works with me.
I mean, I've had everything from Mr. Right, we're pregnant, to I've had an abortion, to I've ran away, and here's what I'm saying. My father is beating me, and here's pictures of the holes in the walls, and you can see what the makeup is trying to cover bruises. I mean, it's, yeah, and it's just very different than where some of the rest of us are. That's why one size fits all doesn't work. She's, one of these people that can't stand her dad and he's stupid and a little bit nuts and so forth. So I love her to death. When Adam came along, though, we didn't think it was going to be a boy. And all of a sudden, a boy pops out, and I'm thinking, wow, this is cool. Now I got a grown-up boy. Not that I really cared, but you get all the dreams of, wow, I'm going to be going to football games, I'm going to be going to baseball games. If they're not any good at sports like I am, we'll be going to plays or something like that. Whatever it be. Yeah, I'm going to be there for my little buck, okay?
No, now we have to give her our address.
Oh. So what is our address in Spanish? Uno, dos, so.
What the heck? No. Is that?
Mr. Tim. Well, anyway, the nurse comes out and says, "This is your boy," and I get ready to hold him. She's like, "We got to take him back." And I'm thinking, what's going on? She said, he's breathing really, really fast. He was breathing 180 times a minute. It's about 3 times a second. Still to this day, breathes about 60 times a minute. That's once a second. Think about breathing that fast. You get pretty tired after a while.
You doing your homework then? Yeah. Can you breathe a little better now? That help right there. You get a good head of hair.
Loves you, man. How do you stop music? Come on, that wasn't it. That was signing time. How do you stop music? Okay, so it's music. Okay. We then found out he was completely blind. Okay. He's born with something called Joubert syndrome. Only 417 people in the whole world have it. And what it is it's an autosomal recessive disorder where my wife has to have a gene and I have to have a gene that puts us together and it causes this to happen. So I have a completely intelligent little boy, but he can't control what his body does, even though his body is completely functional. The mere fact that right now your butt's on that chair, your butt tells your brain which way up is. His brain doesn't do that. So the mere fact that you can sit down and sit up is a miracle. Let's go. All right, Bill. That's it. Keep going. He is extremely self-abusive. For instance, if he gets scared or if he gets upset, he'll just start kicking his fist and pounding his face as much as possible. If he wakes up and he gets scared and I'm not there, he'll roll out of bed and start pounding his face on the floor. Constantly take his legs and just pound him on his wheelchair until it's all bruised and bloody. So when I started getting wrap on what all this was about, all those dreams of ever watching my son knock a home run over the fence went away. And talk about getting pissed at God. I was pissed. Because, you know, the whole thing about where the universe came from, I didn't care. What I care about is why. And you can pick on me all you want, but when you pick on my little boy, that's wrong. A totally innocent little baby, and you're making him do that. I started asking myself, what was the point of it? So as we went through all this, it was Abby that sort of taught me why. One day, I went up to her room, and she had Adam in the middle of all of her dolls. And I'm thinking, what are you doing? She said, I'm playing with my little brother. I'm thinking, he doesn't know how to play. And she said, Adam, she said, like, hand me a doll or something, and he just smacked it. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, if he smacked that, he can see. When did you find out he can see? He said, I don't know, he just started smacking dolls. I'm thinking, holy mackerel. And so then we started working with him and tried to teach him a little sign language. And there was nothing more incredible than the day you see this. What's that mean? Daddy, I love you. So cool. That's when I knew it didn't care about how things work anymore. It's the reason why things work is because of love. So there's something a lot greater than energy, there's something a lot greater than entropy. It's the fact that, what's the greatest thing? Love. That's what makes it all the why we exist. So in that great big universe that we have with all those stars, who cares? Well, somebody cares about you a lot. And as long as we care about each other, that's where we go from. You said James. You didn't say James, you said play, right? Huh? You said play? You did. What are you going to play? Huh? What are you going to play? Pull up, use those abs. Use those up. Use those abs. Use those abs. Alright, so much we're going through. Alright, ready? You done? Have me carry it. That's what I thought. What are you grabbing for? I'm going to pick up the load. He pulled the dirty old rag from his pocket and threw it up in the air, and the raven went swoop down and grabbed the rag in his beak. Good boy, Forrest smiled. Now give it back. No, Jack, Forrest wrote, you're supposed to return it to me. But he could not get the raven's attention. And total frustration.
dreams away with you. All that I can be means so much, 'cause you believe in me. You show me how to live with dignity. When lessons end, I can share with you just like a friend. Your love, the smiles and frowns keep me safe. You teach me right from wrong, inspire me to be strong. You carried everything in my heart. You will always stay. In this moment, let me say how I'm grateful every day. You are here to guide my way. When I'm lost beside me, stay. In this moment, let me say you turn my little into great. There's no fear, my dreams away with you. Stay in this moment, let me say how I'm grateful every day. You are here to guide my way. When I'm lost beside me, stay. In this moment, let me say you turn my little into great. There's no fear, my dreams away with you. And I really wanna say thank you.
Bring back that warm and touching feeling and continue our journey. It's not easy, but it is meaningful. So let's walk the same way, hold our hands, get some warmth when you feel down. Sometimes even our spouse cannot understand what we experience every day. So at least we have colleagues and friends. We can form a good community, hold on to something that we value. Okay, I'll pass back to Dr.
Thank you very much, Dr. Meng. I ended crying. I don't know how many of you cried, but I did. Very sad. Right. So, you're still going. Got tissue ah? Very bad MC, okay. Just had to make this cry, Dr. Meng. Alright, thank you. Alright, very inspiring workshop. And I learned a lot. Seriously. Although they were kids, but I think it brings back a lot of issues with how we live with our own kids and how we inspire our own students. Okay, don't record this.
Okay, off record.